Yeah, it's showing me. It's like almost there, initializing. Oh, we're live.
We're live. All right.
Okay.
Well, welcome back to Tuesday nights. Two guys reselling. I'm Jeff Beeman online, along with Success with Chris.
Just say, there you go.
Just say Chris. Chris, Success with Chris. Yes. What's this?
All
So
right.
you just
All right.
I just got a Facebook notification about something for tonight.
Okay. Oh, yeah, it's just saying that you're.
Just saying we're live.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Apologies up front. My internet is being very sporadic tonight. Good chance I'm going to jump in and out. So kind of going to let Chris lead the charge. I'll try to add in some stuff as we talk about different things. Um, we got into a discussion today amongst our little group that we have, talking about business, talking about numbers for eBay. And that's why I plugged into the eBay Treasure Hunters group, the little picture about having all your ducks in a row. And most of us don't know where half of our ducks are, and some of them could be a pigeon for all we know. And I think that happens so many times with people coming in new, and it doesn't have to be eBay. It could be any new business, especially online, because we just kind of, I don't know, it's a mindset feeling like online is going to be simpler than starting any other business. Where have you seen that lead to, Chris?
Well, I mean, when you take everything into consideration that goes into opening, let's say you want to open up a nice secondhand shop somewhere in town, you have all kinds of complications because now you have a lease that has to be paid, space that you have to take care of and decorate. Of course, all the utilities that goes on with the space. Then you need to carry extra insurance, business insurance, not just for theft or fire, but just in case somebody hurts themselves while they're in your business. God forbid if you're thinking about employees, and it gets very complicated from there. So yeah, running a business in the physical world is a lot more complicated than running a business online. And the financials are a lot better too because you don't have to pay for any of that stuff. How do you feel, Jeff, about that?
Yeah, the it's a different type. We have overhead online to take into account, but
Mm-hmm.
some of it is a different overhead than you would with your physical brick and mortar store. Um, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I do see a lot of mom and pop shops that have family that helps them and
Mm-hmm.
having to hire an employee because man, you get into. And I know out in California where you're at, it's crazier than what it is here in Indiana,
Yeah.
but still having an employee is just so much extra responsibility. One of the
Yeah.
guys that sells, he's a big clothing seller, and he has, I don't know, three or four different employees, and he's there in California. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I just can't imagine the paperwork that you guys have to go through out there. Plus, you know what I already know has to be done here. So, start business online can take on the perception that it simpler, and to a point it is because of dealing with all the physical brick stuff. But I think a lot of people come into it, and even reselling has got to be one of the easiest crossovers for being an employee to at least dipping your toe into a business, a side hustle. But we tend to carry that, oh, this is easy mentality a little too long or ice at the right time. And all of a sudden we're treading water and we're sinking fast because simple numbers a lot of times. Now, talking today, what does it take for a reseller to start moving very profitable position, getting into that proposition. And you were making some good points about ratio of buying in and then turning that into a profit. Can you what were you guys talking about on that? I didn't catch quite all of it, but
Okay, so okay, I'm gonna jump ahead in the future a little bit. So let's say someone they open up an eBay store. They've had it for about 6 months. They have 500 listings up. They will not be able to pay their rent, house note, car, food bill, what have you, with a store that small. And this is an important thing to understand. Okay, if you want to be able to support your household, and you're only using eBay, I need to make this clear. You are only using eBay. Depending on what you're selling and what type of markup you're working with, which means you have to be a pretty good buyer, a good sourcer if you want that markup to be nice and high. You need about anywhere from 2,500 to 5,000 listings to be able to support a household on what you make just from eBay. And that's an important thing to understand and to realize. So if you think you're going to put up 20 or 40 listings and you're going to be making money hand over fist and you're going to be able to fire your boss, that is a very delusional idea. It's a dream, it'll never come true. Yeah, unless you're flipping cars online.
But that's what I say. We're basing this thought process off of, I don't even know what the average sale price on eBay is for somebody that's full time. Their sale price, depending on what they're buying, this is where it gets a little back and forth, up and down, upside down, is depending on what you're buying and selling. Most eBay sellers, I would say, on average, are going to sell $20 items all day long. There's a little higher than that, $30, $40, $50 maybe.
It just depends on what you're selling.
But we do have out there that sell high-end items, and they've got a different looking business strategy. It might be high-end items that are small, like jewelry, or high-end items. Some of the clothing can be, vintage high-end clothing. Shoes can be high-end. But you're running into guys know their product, very experienced with their product, and they don't mess around with this $10, $20 stuff. They go out, they've got their sources, they've got their connections, they know where to go buy this stuff. The rest of us are still looking at that. So we're kind of stuck in the $20, $30, $40.
No, you're still there. $20, $30, $40.
Okay, yeah, $20, $30, $40 area. So
keep on going.
That's what we're basing. That's fine. That's what Chris is basing this number that he's throwing out there. We're not talking about the high end folks. The other business strategy to the high end stuff is the bigger items, like the cars. You can sell cars on eBay, and big things like, I don't know. I know there's people that sell great big stove tops and appliances and stuff like that. Not just parting them out, actually selling the whole thing. So that's not what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about the average eBay seller, $20, $30, $40 price for the most part, with the home run thrown in there.
Yeah. Yep. So what you want to focus on is limit how much you spend. What you spend on an item will predict whether or not you're profitable on that item. So a really good example, when I go in to buy comic books in bulk, I don't want to pay $1 for a comic book. I'm looking at paying anywhere from 30 to 75 cents for the comic book, depending on the demand. So if the comic book is from the 70s, I will pay a little bit more if it's in better condition. But if it's the condition's a little subpar, then I'm only going to pay 50 cents for it, even though it's from the 70s, because I know it's only going to sell for $5 plus shipping, basically, unless it's a key title. Unless it's a key title. But if you're not a comic book expert, you don't know what the key titles are, so you're not really going to know what you're buying, and it would be very dangerous for you to do so. Same thing with what Jeff was talking about earlier. High-end fashion, high-end jewelry, electronics, things that you can, you might pay $50 for it, but you're going to turn around and sell it for $200, $300, $400. You need to be an expert in those areas. Otherwise, it's going to blow up in your face, which is why the majority of eBay sellers, especially those that are full-time, deal with smaller items that ship super fast. You can put either in a poly bag or a small cardboard box. I don't really ever sell large items. I hate doing that. It's a big pain in the butt. It takes too long to pack them. When you start doing quantity, you start really paying attention to your time. How long is it taking me to do this? How much did I earn from this? Did I really only make $3 an hour? Seriously,
How
if
many
you're not
times?
careful, there you go.
Yeah, hit us in the comments. How many times have you packed a bigger item or a hard to pack item for an odd shape, size, and
Mm-hmm.
you get done with it and you think, "Holy cow, that just took me an hour to do this," and they paid how much for it? you know,
Mm-hmm.
for me, it's golf club. Got golf clubs kind of down to a science for me. So it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't take me as long to do one or a set of some. But in the
Yep.
beginning, heck yeah. I'd sell a golf club for $20 and okay, cool. I sold an older vintage, whatever golf club. But it takes me half an hour to pack the stupid thing. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's not cool. But now, if I get a hold of the nicer clubs and I can get them packed in pretty good time, it's like, okay, I'm going to take an extra. In fact, I'll even slow down, take an extra minute, just make sure they are, because they're higher end product. So it's okay to take a little extra time for that. But yeah, totally. You've got to know you got to factor all that extra time in as you go as to what am I selling. So
Mm-hmm.
love the smalls. Love the smalls.
Yep. Yep. Easy to buy, easy to pack. And when you see, I think the biggest mistake a new reseller makes is they panic for inventory. They're scared they don't have enough inventory, they're not going to make money. So they're afraid to walk away from a bad deal. They think, oh, I can make it up somehow. Or this is really popular, so if I list it and list it for a higher price, I'll make the profit there. Yeah, don't ever do that. You'll find people listing underneath you. I do that to people all the time. They have a listing up there for like a year or so, and they're asking way too much for it. So I'll come down below them, and then I'll wait like a week, and if it doesn't sell, I'll throw it on sale. I'll mark the price down even more to make sure it sells. Now remember, I'm spending $2 to make $20. If you're not spending $2 to make $20, if you're spending $10 to make $20, then you're not going to really be able to afford to do any markdowns or sales or accept anyone's offer, because you just spent 10. I'm sorry, you just spent 20, you're hoping to make 10, and then if you start discounting that item, you might only walk away with $5. And
Yeah,
spending
or less
$20
depending
to make
on
$5. Mm-hmm.
yeah, or yeah, it'd be less because eBay, if you miscalculate an eBay fee or if you miscalculate on shipping, you don't you do not give
Mm-hmm.
yourself enough margin, enough cushion to work with. Now, I would say, Chris, probably a vast majority of sellers, probably not the full-time sellers, folks that are just trying to make some extra money, little vacation money, fun money, whatever. And most of them
Mm-hmm.
probably do that. They probably buy, spend the 10, hoping to make 10, after everything done. And, they've got 100, couple hundred listings up, the hobby seller, the
Mm-hmm.
prime seller. And it's fine because they don't have time to spend on the extras like you and I do. We spend
Mm-hmm.
time looking at what can I put on sale, seasonal stuff, all the different things that go into running a retail business online. And sometimes when you hit people with that, you're actually running a e-commerce retail business online. If you want it to be above and beyond a part-time hobby deal, then all these other factors have to start getting some priority. You have to start learning about them. If you don't know about them, you have to start learning about them. So I
Mm-hmm.
would say, a majority, they probably do they because they're not planning on running. Uh, they're not planning on taking any offers. In fact, I've seen people in the eBay groups, flat say, "I don't take offers. They either pay for it or they don't." Okay. um, so that number, again, because of the type of seller you are, becomes an issue for you to work out in your business plan. And yeah, it's just for somebody that's looking to go full time, what Chris is talking about, we have to be able to buy at the lower rates, we have to develop our sources, we have to develop our networks. That takes time.
Mm-hmm.
I think David was earlier in our chat today about the 2 rule. If you have $1,000 and figure out math, it can take you another how long to make double that?
Like 7 years. Yeah, depending on your percentage.
Yeah,
So he was saying, like, if you're, let me try to remember his numbers real quick. But yeah, he was, if you're at $1,000 and you're only adding to it 10% at a time, it'll take you 7 years to double your money.
yeah, and that's if you
And,
think about it, way from a new seller or seller trying to
mhm.
ramp up a little bit, it's like, wow, that's depressing. But numbers are numbers, facts are facts.
Yeah, yeah. So you really have to take into consideration how much it costs you to sell something. When I buy a comic book, I know exactly how much money it is going to take to ship it. That includes the box, the tape, the tissue, the bag, the board, and the postage. And the reason why I have to know all of that, even if, let's say, I'm given free shipping, I still want to have those numbers down concrete, because you need to know how much it costs you to ship that item with all the consumables involved. Because if you're paying too much, your profits are going to suffer in the end. You're going to burn out and quit, even if you're doing it for a hobby. So keep in mind the cost of sale, how much the item costs, and what you're paying to advertise the item. Because I promote my listings, so there's an extra percentage there that I have to add into my cost of sale. And then of course you've got um, the eBay fees, and if you're using PayPal, you've got the PayPal fees. But I think most of us are on eBay's managed payment system.
Yeah,
But either way, I mean, if it's eBay's managed payment system, there's still a payment fee for accepting the payment for you, but it's itemized under eBay's fees.
right.
But if you're a brand new seller, you kind of have to qualify for that. You might still be using PayPal to collect your fees. So you have to take the PayPal charges into consideration as well. And that'll basically give you your cost of sale.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of sellers may understand that, and we've talked about this before, everything that eBay does, but technically your listing fee and just and then once it sells, your selling fee, you can place
Mm-hmm.
that under advertising because eBay driving the traffic for you to make the sale. Doesn't matter whether you promoted it or anything like that. It's just eBay's fees that we have to deal with are because they're driving traffic to our items or helping to drive traffic
Mm-hmm.
to our items. So therefore, that's
Yep.
that's that's advertising. I mean, we're selling on eBay for because we want the traffic.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. That is
Cost
true.
of sales. Yep.
Cost of sales. It's very important you have those numbers down because you want to know what all your, at the end of the year when it comes tax time, you're going to want to know what all of your expenses are. Otherwise, you're going to pay too much.
Yeah.
Um,
Obviously, we're not going. Did you lose me?
just for a second.
Still here?
Keep on going.
Okay. So
Yeah, you're still
obviously,
here.
we are any. Yeah, we're not going to give any tax advice at all. Period. Not going to happen. But
You.
track your expenses. That's all I'm gonna say. Track your every expense. And then go talk to
Yep.
your accountant.
And yep. And buy some financial software. Okay. I recommend QuickBooks for Business because you can track all of your retail cost of sale expenses in there. Quicken is for more like your home type accounting, like,
Paying
I don't know,
bills.
your income versus your bills and stuff like that. QuickBooks is basically more for your business. So don't try to use Quicken for your business. You won't be happy at all. But yeah, get financial software and get an accountant. The financial
Find a
software and the accountant can all be deducted.
find a tax
Mm-hmm.
person that you can go to yearly consistently, not one that's going to change every year. So they consistent and up to date with that tax person to help you out.
Yeah, and I'm really not comfortable with a tax preparer. I never go to H&R Block or JK
Hmm.
Lassiter or nothing like that. I want a certified public accountant who comes highly recommended.
Yep,
It's
that's what
important.
that's what we made the move to this year. Thought I had one
Mm-hmm.
the last couple of years, but that fizzled out. So we jumped right back into an accountant, business manager this year. So
Yes. Yeah, and remember, a bookkeeper cannot replace an accountant, regardless of how experienced they are.
yep,
So keep that in mind. There's a huge difference between the two. An accountant is someone who has mastered the language of business and they keep abreast of all the financial commitments that are made to the IRS. It's
yep,
super
all the
important.
laws,
A,
everything changes
mm-hmm,
every year. They have to
yep,
stay up with it.
yep.
I want
A
to circle back.
bookkeeper. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was
Yeah,
just going to say a
I want.
bookkeeper is someone you hire to help you manage your books
Yeah,
for
keep track of stuff.
input and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Go ahead, Jeff.
No, I'm gonna try to circle back here to what we were talking about before the accountant conversation. The It can sound a little bit crazy when you talk about what does it cost to sell something, and we look at
Mm-hmm.
an eBay seller, and we all tend to sell multiple different things. That you froze up.
No, you're still going.
Okay. So we all sell multiple. We know we have to be in most cases in some different categories to really bring in enough traffic and bring in enough sales on a regular basis to make things work. When Chris says, what does it cost to sell something? We're talking about a specific category or item. So he's talking about comic books in this one. I might talk about golf clubs. I might talk about video games.
Mm-hmm.
We all have. You don't want to. You don't want to bury yourself under every little thing you the shelf that looks like it might bring in a dollar, especially getting started. But don't get overwhelmed by the of knowing how everything has to sell on everything that you work with. I'm not saying this correctly how I want to say it. Um, I don't want you to be afraid of getting stuck on one thing, and that's all you can do. That's all you can learn how to do. You will learn your category. You will learn your item. You will learn the cost of selling an item. I've not completely niched down. I sell golf, I sell sportswear clothing, I sell video games, I sell collectibles. Chris sells collectibles and comic books and some other things that go. But I mean, both know that if we come across a good deal on something, that I can buy it for $1 and flip it for 25. Heck yeah, pick it up. Mains are, I guess, that they can have our main stream items that we sell every day. Those are the really spend time learning what the cost is to sell. The rest of the little miscellaneous
Mm-hmm.
stuff floating around here and there will kind of take care of itself as you go. But just don't get overwhelmed by, oh my gosh, I got to know exactly every number for every little item. No, you'll know your numbers for the categories that you sell in the most. Does that make sense? Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you did. Because I remember when I first started selling on eBay, I didn't have a lot of confidence and I didn't think I had a lot of knowledge. So I started in the category that I felt comfortable with. And for like the first year or two, all I sold were new age products: candles, aromatherapy oils, different fragrant herbs, some
Mm-hmm.
books, tarot cards, fuzzy little bags, stuff like that. And I was doing okay with it, but it was very hard. I found it difficult to expand my audience. It it was almost like I was living in this massive mansion, but I only contained myself to a room that was 10 feet by 20 feet and just ignored the whole mansion. I saw a few YouTube videos, and these people were talking about going to garage sales and the different things they buy, going to thrift stores and different things they buy. And then I started thinking to myself, when I go garage selling for myself, what do I buy? I buy comic books, trade paperbacks, and comic book and movie, television related collectibles. And that gave me pause. I remember when I told Jeff all about it. And then I started selling all kinds of stuff: apparel, video games, movies on both DVD and Blu ray, some VHS. Some people still buy VHS, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Um, and then all of a sudden, my store traffic exploded unexpectedly. I had no clue. Selling in other categories brings in new business. You just have to have some background knowledge or really be willing to put in the research.
Yeah. And there are sellers out there that preach selling in one niche. And I'm not totally against that because there are reasons for them doing what they do and how they do it.
Mm-hmm.
But the one niche thing tends to lead you. No, it's not a bad road to go down. Let me rephrase. Having our everyday bread and butter items is where Chris and I spend most of our time.
Mm-hmm.
We're not niched down. I mean, I've got a golf store that now splicing together with my marketing store, my everyday store, for the reason to
Mm-hmm.
manage those numbers and to manage the business in a more little as simple as I can. Business is complicated, but you got to be able to manage it as simply as you can. And so having my bread and butter all under one roof should make a big difference for me in a shorter amount of time. But if I was still trying to just keep one store completely under one niche, and this store over here completely under one niche, I know people it's got four. If it works for you, it works. I'm telling you
Mm-hmm.
not to by any means. Who am I to tell you not to? It's your business. But there are some people that have 4 or 5 stores, however, whatever the max that eBay lets you have of number of stores. But
Mm-hmm.
for the simplicity reasons, for the numbers we're talking about here, to stay on top of your bread and butter items and make sure that you're consistently, it just makes sense to keep it under one roof and keep grooving that way without niching yourself down so far. Like Chris said, it becomes a sourcing issue. Niche yourself down to, and that's what I keep running into with golf clubs. It's hard for me to source golf clubs, able to buy them at a price that is going to turn a decent profit or the numbers that I want to see turn on, and get a brand new
Mm-hmm.
pair set of tailor-made ones that are only 2 years old and haven't had a lot of wear and tear on them, and somebody's just getting rid of them because divorce. There's maybe some lady's mad at her old man, got divorced, and she's as good off clubs to nothing just to get rid of them. I love it when that
Mm-hmm.
happens, because we're talking $400 or $500 clubs at that point, with that type of situation. So you know, yeah, it's you're gonna have those wins in there, but it's hard for me to source clubs. I was down. I'm just going based off of the folks that I watch on YouTube. Of them are in the South, warmer climate, more golf all year long. There's garages that are all full of golf clubs that all these golfers are just continuing to move in and out of their home. So for them down there, it's a lot simpler. I've got to look at my strategy and say, whoops, I want better items. It's not going to be golf clubs. Golf clubs are going to be my big win for the month of, oh, cool, I sold a set for $400 or $500 on top of all my bread and stuff. You
Yep.
know, that's what we're talking about as the average business for a reseller as we look at all of our numbers and try to figure out what am I.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I noticed out of the people that I follow, the ones who sell to a more general, broad audience are the ones who are making the most money. So there are people out there with just, stores that only sell postcards, or they only sell blue jeans, or they only sell sports equipment. But the big stores that are out there that have, 10, 15, 20,000 listings, those people are making incredible amounts of money, and their stores are getting upwards of, let me look at my store real quick, because I got a number in my head, but I don't think that number is right. It seems too high. Hang on for a second. What the heck? Yeah, they're getting in excess of 2 million listing impressions a day
Wow.
because they have so many listings, and they're listings that people search for on a daily basis. Not just one niche where it's seasonal, or it just depends on what's going on in the media.
The trend of the month is what?
Yep.
I mean, if you're thinking about it in the terms of business, also on the trending or the seasonal stuff, here we are, middle of June. We've really got to kind of start thinking fall. Want
Mm-hmm.
to, but you really got you really kind of got to kind of look ahead. see what's that type of item. Do you have that type of item in your store?
Yep. Yeah, because I mean, after the 4th of July, it's all going to be about back to school.
Mm-hmm.
And then once people get over back to school, what? The winter holidays, because they skip fall. You notice that? Like the fall
Yeah, it
holidays, it's
happens.
all in one section, and it's like, okay, we're done with this. Put out the Christmas gear.
Yep.
I want to say I saw Christmas stuff as early as mid-October.
If not earlier, yeah. I've
Mm-hmm.
noticed that there's the Dollar Generals that even get ahead of Walmart sometimes.
Yeah.
But those poor Dollar
Yeah.
General folks. Normally it's 2 people per store when it's open. The stores are open. I don't know. Do you guys have this problem out there? Do you have Dollar General?
No, we have Dollar Tree.
You have Dollar Tree? Okay. We have
Yeah,
Dollar
it's probably
Tree.
the same thing.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
close to it. Here in the Midwest, Dollar General, there's one in every little town. And normally they
Okay.
only have 2 employees working a shift. And so you got somebody constantly trying to put away and the other person trying to run a register.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both putting away stock or messing with inventory. It's not busy. And he calls off sick. The other person can't run the store, so they have to turn on the second person to come in or waiting for the next shift to arrive. Or it's terrible. They have a lot of neat stuff.
Wow.
Stores are jam packed with inventory, but
Mm-hmm.
I forget where I was going with that story totally. To the idea that they transition, they have to transition early because they don't have the staff to do it any other way. You know, as soon as if a
Okay.
truck arrives, it's got that kind of stuff on it. They have to start getting it out there because otherwise it's not going to get put out. They have, they have major staff. Open new stores pop up every. We have four Dollar Generals in a little town, plus a Dollar Tree, plus another dollar company of some kind. So $6 stores in our little town. I don't know what we got, 20,000 maybe now. I'm not sure, but it's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. And half the time they can't keep them staffed. So
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, stay away from dollar stores. I've
for
seen YouTube
sourcing,
videos. Yes, don't source at a dollar store. You will cry. It's ridiculous. I saw a video about how this guy was using the dollar store for the majority of his um, reselling, and supposedly he was making a lot of money. So I went into the Dollar Tree. I went to the book section. I scanned every title they had there. What I saw was a lot of people listing the exact same titles, the exact same book format, but none had sold within 90 days. Every book I scanned had the exact same result. If you're really good with crafts, if you're great with your hands, and you can go through a dollar store and make a beautiful decorative thing that everyone in your circle wants, then yeah, you could probably sell that stuff handmade on eBay and make a good amount of money. But if you think you're going to buy something for $1 and then flip it on eBay for $10 from the dollar store, you are sorely mistaken. Because Jeff lives out in the boonies in Indiana, and you said you have four Dollar Generals.
$4
So
Generals and 2 others, so 6 total dollar stores.
holy crap!
And then
So
and
this.
then
Go ahead.
10 minutes down the road in the little town where my mom lives, there's $1 store that going back the other way
Mm-hmm.
in a town that's within our county. There's another Dollar General there, and it's just any little
Yeah,
town. There just pop up in every little town that's out there.
yeah,
So
and
yeah, you got all
I
those
believe
people
that.
going in. Yeah, all those people going in if they're going to be sourcing, going in, they're trying to pick
Mm-hmm.
out something, but it all ends up being the same thing, and you get 500 of them listed on eBay, and they're all sitting there because
Yep,
they're not wanted items.
they're not. I mean, that's how they end up in the dollar store to begin with. They can't carry their own weight at a regular retail price. And I also noticed the dollar stores tend to have smaller quantities of items. So if you buy like a 4 ounce bath bar of soap, the dollar store's biggest bar would be like 2.5 ounces. Same brand,
Yeah.
but smaller,
Yeah, in some
a lot
cases.
smaller.
In
Hmm.
some cases.
So
I know,
yeah, so be
I
really
will say
really
there are
careful.
some there occasionally are some clearance items that they'll throw out there that's seasonal that you might get a bite on. I mean, if you remember back to
Hmm.
our drop shipping days and the retail arbit, this goes back to your pricing point from the
Yeah.
beginning of tonight too, of pricing underneath everybody else. We were actually taught in the drop shipping that we were already buying it pretty much at retail because we were drop shipping off of another huge giant e-commerce business platform.
Hmm.
And so even though their prices sometimes were okay, a lot of times we're buying them at pretty much full retail, still marking them up
Hmm.
to try to make $2 to $5 per item.
Hmm.
And what we were getting, Jordan, that either we're not doing the research pricing, they didn't care, just didn't know, and or the as we call the jerk buyer who just happens to come across,
Hmm.
oh wow, that's cool, I'm going to buy it, and doesn't even pay attention to the price. Those were generally the kind of buyer we were getting. So take that against the Dollar General type mentality as well. And if you're out of there trying to source even on clearance items, you're just not going to be consistent. You make sales here and there with those types of items here
Hmm.
and there, but you're not going to be consistent with them. So see, some seasonal stuff might fall out, like Chris said, especially crafty, that kind of stuff. But
Hmm.
it's a rougher way to go. And
It is.
this
It's
is where
real
you need
rough.
to know. Talk about numbers. This is where you need to know what the sell through rates are. Look it up. How many are listed? How many are selling? And if it's 500 listed and there's only 10 that have sold in the last 90 days, probably not a good idea to
Hmm.
go find something better.
Yep.
That's the
I
base.
was in a store one time. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say
No,
I was in a store and I was scanning so many items on the phone that the manager came up to me and asked me to leave.
mm-hmm.
He thought I was a competitor pricing out his store. I told him I was a reseller and thinking about using some of this stuff, but it's kind of priced high. He goes, "Yeah, you need to leave the store anyway." So I left the store. But it only happened to me the one time, and it's never happened since or before. So, I mean, don't be afraid to whip your phone out and just start scanning stuff to see what it's selling for on eBay. Your business depends on you staying informed.
Yep. Always look it
Mhm.
up. I mean, obviously, once you get some experience, some time in, you can walk by some items, especially garage sales, yard sales. That I gotta pick that up. Um, but a lot of time there's see when did I go out? Where to oh some garage sales this weekend. I did have to stop and check a couple of items that I wasn't sure about.
Mhm.
I know that I've seen them on eBay. I just wasn't sure how well they were selling, and I didn't bring them home. They weren't selling that well. Walk away. Just it's tough to
Mhm.
do. It's tough to do, but I mean,
It is.
this whole conversation tonight comes down to the base roots of what Chris was talking about at the very beginning, buying it at the levels that you can make your profit margins off of. That's
Mhm.
what it all comes down to: learning how to buy correctly, knowing your sell rates, and sticking tons on your business plan.
Mhm.
Don't be wishy like
That's
me and
very
go back
true.
and forth.
It's just if you're consistent, it's really going to pay off. But even if you're less consistent in reselling, you still get paid, just not as much. And we're not talking about getting paid 2 months down the road. We're talking about getting paid as often as eBay will deposit into your account, basically.
Yep.
No, that's an exaggeration. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But if you mark your account for daily, then what'll happen is you'll start to notice that if you're consistent, you will get daily deposits. And if you're less consistent, you'll get a deposit once every few days, once a week, just depending on how much you slack off.
Right. Yeah, I'm still recovering from weekend a week ago as we get ready to get into coming into this week. So just because
And
it's all it takes, a couple days, and it's like, oh well, catch up time. Here we go.
that's true. And the worst part about it is prices are going up. Wages have gone up, and prices are going up everywhere. Taco dinner for two is now like $32 here.
Wow.
And yeah, and just a few years ago, it was like $10. Two people can get a taco dinner for $10, $12. Same dinner, it's like $32. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's gone, and we don't feel it as bad as you do here in Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's crazy. We're over in Ohio with my son the weekend ago, and he took us to a
Mm-hmm.
hamburger. It's technically fast food, but it's just a different version of fast food hamburger joint. And all we ordered was two burgers and one drink. I think it was like $30. I was like, "Are you flipping
Wow.
kidding?" And that wasn't that great a hamburger. Sorry, it was not that. It was not that great a hamburger. But yeah, I mean, prices are just getting crazy or crazier. We're there. The companies, the economy has already shifted. Sometimes, as an eBay seller, we got to stack and say, okay, I know I'm going to get stuck paying a little bit more money this
Mm-hmm.
time around from going forward. So we've got to make those adjustments in our prices going forward too, without ourselves up so high that people are gonna say, "Oh, forget that."
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna go
Yeah.
for that low dollar
Yep. Exactly. Especially nowadays,
quality,
people are
customer
signing up for
service.
services. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, quality, customer service. That's what if you need to move your prices up, or you're selling the quality with that.
Okay,
That make,
it does,
if you
but
if
like,
you're gonna have to charge more money, you better be on your customer service game. You better be giving them the quality that you're asking them.
that's true, but you don't want to raise your prices.
Not on
What
your
you
current
want to
inventory.
do, mm-mm. Yeah, not on your current inventory, exactly.
Yeah, it's the new inventory you've got coming in that if you have to pay more, it's the only place you can get it. Then you're going to have to raise your price on that, and you may be stuck against somebody that's already got current inventory that has theirs at a lesser dollar amount because they bought it at a lower rate originally.
Yeah, I know. I'd
But
walk away from the deal.
well, but you can still beat them out. You can still beat them out with customer service. You can still beat them out with what you say it's going to be,
No,
unless
you
somebody
can't.
is just shopping for the dollar amount only.
No, I mean, you can't. This is going to sound crazy to you, but I've been through this. I, uh, hang on for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm not going to show the shipping label because I don't want to give someone's address away. This is a comic. This is how I ship my comic books.
Mm-hmm.
There's a comic book inside here, and it got returned to me because the person is no longer at this address. So, solid cardboard box, okay? Now, keep watching. Hear that. All right, that was crazy.
Now he's throwing
My hand
things.
slipped. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to open this thing up. Man, I really sealed this up good. I've never had to open up my own package before. Okay. And I'm trying to be careful too because I don't want to give away, people's personal stuff. So I taped the comic book down inside the container. And if you notice, the comic book itself is wrapped in tissue so that you can tear away all the tape and the packing stuff. I put in a packing receipt that tells them everything about their order. And the comic books are bagged and boarded. All right? I say all of this stuff in my listings. People don't pay attention. They see the title.
True.
They look at the pictures. They hardly ever read the text. Now, I'm not saying everyone. I'm saying a lot of people. Now, what you're saying, if you're in Walmart, is very accurate. Okay? But when you're online, how do you show them you have a better quality? How do you show them you ship with better care so that it arrives in the proper condition? How do you show them that you will answer a message on eBay at 1:30 in the morning because you've got your ringer on your phone up all the way and it dings with the message, you wake up? You can't really show them any of this before the sale. Even though it's in your listing in print, they're not going to get it until they get a few bad orders. But even still, it's really hard for them to see how much you put into your stuff until they finally buy something from you. A lot of people will go on eBay, and they're on eBay, and they're looking for the lowest price on eBay. And they're looking to see how fast they can get it as well, which is why I ship same day. I ship same day, Monday through Friday, and when I stop doing garage sales, if I stop doing garage sales, I will include Saturday as well. So yeah, you really got to keep that in mind, that they're looking at your picture, then they're looking at someone else's picture who's cheaper, then they're looking at someone else's picture who's even cheaper. And if you got a third guy who's even cheaper, they're never going to buy from you. I've gone through that, and I've had my listing sit and sit and sit and sit. And then I throw them on sale, and all of a sudden, it starts going. So, it's really hard to prove customer service before the sale.
I'd say that probably the only argument to that I would have would be feedback score. There are some people who will go with maybe a little higher price if you have experience selling on eBay. So that factors in.
You know what?
But you're right. I mean, the average buyer, the average buyer is looking at price. Mm-hmm. They're then again we go back to the knee jerk buyer who, oh, well, that's cool, I'm going to buy it, or what was the other ones I was rattling off there earlier, buyers that just they're just buying
by spur of the moment.
Yeah, they're just buying to buy. Hey, I got a few extra bucks, I'm going to go see what I can find on eBay. Yeah, I might need a new card. Or they got a gift card, sure. So, yeah, so there's things that factor into it. But I totally agree with you. The average person, average buyer looking for the best deal they can get. Especially, I'm sure with you, with comic books, cultures, do you feel like they're still looking for that preen comic book that you just unwrapped there, but they wanted $5 lower than what you're selling it for?
That's funny because those comic books are not pristine.
No, but you give that impression.
I grade them. Yeah. Well, no, because if let's say they buy a comic book and I rate the comic book at a 4.0 to a 6.0. And when they get that comic book, they want it to be in that 4.0 to 6.0 shape.
Mhm.
And it's the same thing with anything. If you sell a toy car or clothing, you know, I sold this guy a pair of pants across the country back when it was really, really rainy everywhere. And he said the package was wet, the pants were dry. Gave me a
Good
big
job.
old smiley face. Yeah, exactly. But Jeff, what do you do when you and I are selling the same thing? We've got similar experience, and we're both at 100% feedback, and mine is cheaper.
Yeah, it's come down to price in most cases. Or I'm just
Yeah,
prettier than you, so they'll go with me. I got my face on my faces on
that's
my.
pretty funny.
I gotta be pretty.
Hmm. It's and the funny thing about that, Jeff, is a lot of my customers think I'm a woman.
Really.
They think I'm a woman. Yes, when they compliment me in their comments, they use the pronouns she and her
Hmm.
to describe me, and it's funny because I think the reason why they do that, first of all, my face isn't on the store, so I might want to change that down the road.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, maybe so they know that I'm a real person and not some weirdo in a cold, lonely garage. But
Right. Basement of your mother's house.
yeah, and my mother's been dead. Her body's up in the attic.
Right.
Norman.
Right.
Oh, you sidetracked me. I forgot what we were talking about.
Your buyer, you're a woman.
Oh yeah. So I think it's funny. I don't go out of my way to correct them because I'm sure they're women too. Like I sold a woman a Wilton baking pan. It's a whoopie pie baking pan. So you can make those like Suzy Q's, but these were shaped in like leaves and acorns, like fall stuff.
Oh, cool.
And she taught me something new because she taught me how to save money by shipping parcel. I think it's Parcel Express or Select Parcel, something like that.
That
I
sounds right.
saved her
Select
like
parcel.
yeah, something. I saved her like $5 versus USPS Priority Mail, and she contacted me and told me that when I changed it and told her, this is how much I'm going to save you. She bought it and paid for it immediately. So, and again, she thought I was a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So she must have really clicked with me to think that I'm equal to her.
There
You know
you
what I
go.
mean? And guys
Yeah.
do the
Exactly.
same thing. As guys, we all do the same thing. Like I remember one time a buddy of mine, he thought Rhonda Rusi was a dude. Not because of the way she looked. He never saw her. He's
Right.
mispronounced her name, but he was talking about what an amazing fighter this guy is. And I'm like, dude, that's a woman. Or
Yeah.
if we're
She made
talking
the
about
fight.
like an assassin, yeah, oh yeah, she's insane. I wouldn't want to be in the ring with her.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're talking like guys like serial killers. We all assume it's always a guy.
Right.
A criminal. Oh, it's got to be a guy. But yeah, so they do the same thing. I bet you never knew that. I didn't know that before selling on eBay.
Yeah. That's totally makes sense.
It does make sense. Yep.
Deal.
All
All right.
right.
Well, I'm going to wrap it up with you tonight, my friend. Unfortunately, we have to get up in the morning and be gone pretty much all day tomorrow. My daughter's youngest of her three that we watch quite often tore his ACL back leg and has to have surgery tomorrow. She's on vacation, so guess who gets to take to the surgery down in Indianapolis tomorrow and deal with all that until the vacation. So I gotta get up early. So I'm gonna get at finish up for my
Okay, buddy.
night. Actually, I've got a package I gotta get ready to throw in the mail for it's done, and
Hmm.
we'll catch up again here soon with everybody. So hope everybody had a good night. Maybe picked up an idea you're talking about. And yeah, if
Hmm.
you need to get with one of us, you can Facebook or find it in the Facebook groups and let us know what you got a question on.
Yep. All right.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Happy selling. Let's get out of here. Can you find the exit on this one tonight?
Yeah, I know exactly where it is, trying to get it to exit. But it keeps on telling me it's failed. Failed to stop stream.
It doesn't stop streaming.
It doesn't want to stop the stream. Ongoing stream. Maybe I could just do it here. No? Well, what if I just... No, it still failed. Failed.
I'll be darned.
Failed.
Guess
Holy
we're just
crap.
going to have to hit the red X.
Yep, I'm going to have to just shut it down hard. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
We'll talk to you later. Thanks, bud.